Kitty, are you gonna be my co-host? Kitty co-host?
If you're familiar with basic cosplay supplies ordering or making foam armor, you can go ahead and skip to the second video. I'll still do a quick recap of the materials. This first video will go into depth for those that are not familiar with buying the supplies.
Hi, I'm Tangent from tinyfoxjeans, and this is Furiosa, my cat. And today we're going to talk about how to make a bracer out of foam. I'm going to go through all of the steps. It's a pretty simple and easy way to get started into foam armor making. I prefer foam for armor when possible over Worbla just due to weight and also the amount of time it takes to make the pieces. I also tend to not rewear cosplays a bajillion times, even if I do, I'm pretty light on them. So I typically prefer using foam over Worbla unless there is a piece that's going to be taking a lot of strain or contact. If you've never worked with foam before for making armor, this might be a good place to start on like a project. I normally recommend bracers first because you get to practice shaping the foam and also can go as complicated or simple as you want. So first off, we will go over the materials that you would need to make your own bracer. And I guess my cat's just gonna be here while I show tools. Thanks. I'm so glad you're so interested in this process that's happening here today. Alright, so first off, you'll need your drafting material. You'll need some sort of paper to draw on. I use typically like the cheap Crayola giant construction paper or rolls of scrap paper from other projects. You will also need pens for marking. Make sure that you have something that is going to show up not only on your paper but on the foam itself. I normally have good luck with gel pens or metallic Sharpies. Yeah, you can chew on that? These belong to you now? Okay. You're going to want some rulers, hard plastic kind. It doesn't need to be as giant as this ruler that is longer than my cat. It can be about, I would say try not to go much smaller than this beat up one you see here. If you go too small, it's hard to safely cut the foam without getting the blades too close to your fingers, which we're going to go over later. You're going to need a way to cut your foam. You can use scissors, but it's not my favorite tool to use. I prefer to use Exacto knives. I've got two different sizes here. There is the big boy, which normally you can buy these typically at hardware stores or crafts. Sometimes at craft stores, like the smaller ones you can find at craft stores. Thanks, you're knocking things off the table. Essentially, they have snap blades on them, so they're easy to take care of. You don't have to necessarily have a sharpening kit. Every time that you cut into foam with your scissors or your Exacto knife, you're going to dull it quite considerably, which is why you want the snap-off style kind, especially if you don't know how to sharpen blades. So let's move this out of the way. Would you just decide if you're leaving or not? No, you're not leaving? The other thing you'll need is a heat gun to be able to shape your foam. There's this style that you can get at like a hardware store, but there's also like the craft ones you've probably seen that are like long, skinny tubes. That kind will also work. And then for connecting the layers together, you're going to need hot glue gun and some hot glue sticks. You can also use other methods of gluing it, like all-purpose glue. It just takes a lot longer, and foam really likes hot glue, so it is the primary way that I glue together my layers. And then you'll also need a cutting surface like you see here before me. You could do an old school wooden cutting board like this, or at the craft store you'll see the actual like cutting mats. Something fell over. The cutting mats like this, these also work. Or if you're really fancy, you can use a self-healing mat. They come in big plastic rolls and they take forever to flatten out. Those also work great. You'll also need your foam. I tend to get mine in bulk rolls, but you can also just get the kids craft foam. Just make sure to get it in 2 different thicknesses, whatever foam that you end up getting. If you purchase in bulk, I like to buy mine from foammart.com. It's more expensive up front, but if you are going to be doing a huge head-to-toe armor build, you're going to need a lot of foam, so you might as well just get a big roll from them. If you do end up buying it online, make sure you're buying closed cell foam. They normally call it like L200, L400 foam. Stay. Then you're gonna need your sealant and paint. And paintbrushes, obviously, for the paint. Let me grab the sealant to show you. There's 2 different ways you can seal your foam that I like. There's probably a lot of ways to seal foam. There is the spray plasti dip. This is an aerosol-based spray, so you'll have to make sure that you are using correct ventilation equipment and also spraying outside or in a well-ventilated area, not in your tiny apartment with the windows closed next to your cats. Or, if that's not an option for you, because not everyone has that situation, it takes longer, but you can do black gesso or white gesso. Why do you keep knocking things over? You have to apply it layer by layer. It takes longer than the spray plasti dip, but a great alternative if you don't want to use something that's going to need a large amount of ventilation space. Am I forgetting any materials?
If you're doing any kind of texture, like rivets, you would use like googly eyes or something like that.
Oh, yes, there's also extra credit material. It's not required, but googly eyes, any of those like plastic cheap gemstones, essentially things that are plastic and have like a flat base on one side that you get from the craft department. If you see anything that's cheap and is the right shape, those are a great way to quickly cheat and get texture onto a piece that you're making. Googly eyes is definitely my #1 favorite additional material for making foam armor.
My wife and I are new to YouTube. Please subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when part 2 comes out.